Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tardis Zone Talks. Yep, Matt Stevens is in the news. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna get into it anyway. All I just want to say is thanks to Matt Stevens because he actually gives us in the fandom. He's actually gave us something to talk about because this current era is so bad that it's already forgotten. Nobody's talking about it. Eve of the Daleks was. We'll get into all of that anyway. But yeah. So all the articles are in the link description. First of all, Pitbull Gaming 66 also did a great video. It's in the link description. If you haven't subscribed to his channel either, please do support him. A great video, very passionate. Said it exactly the way it is. And I just want to say something now. For the last 5 years, streamers like myself or YouTubers like myself have come under heavy criticism about how we've been lying to the fandom and about how toxic we are. But I think Matt Stevens' interviews now, and then the Doctor Who magazine ratings, they put up a ratings graph to show the live views, and all I'll just say is, look, when we began this, I said, if Doctor Who was to go under 2 million, it'd be game over. Eve of the Daleks got 2 million live views, if even that, and I'll get into that a little bit later on. But what's happened is that the lies, the gaslighting, and all of these articles, and while Doctor Who magazine should be praised for putting out those live figures, Doctor Who magazine, let's be honest, along with Radio Times and other media outlets out there, haven't given this side of the fandom much respect over the last 5 years, let's be honest. But look, as far as I'm concerned, that's in the past. We're going to move on to the RTD with a bit of optimism. But I just want to point that out. Nobody in the media here is innocent, even if they are now actually reporting on the truth. Remember, they've gaslit this fandom for a long, long time and have lied about how successful this era actually is. So for all of those that actually, stuck with it for the last 5 years, that have actually, even though we haven't liked this era, I've watched every single episode. And I think those people that have watched like me should be praised because, it has been, trust me, it's been as bad as everybody on our side of the argument anyway has been saying. But this spin is officially dead. And it's about time. Nobody can spin this anymore. The fact of the matter is, and you'll see in the article, and Pitbull Gaming brought this up, what Matt Stevens tries to do in the interview, the articles, is he's using the consolidated figures to try and justify how actually great this era is in his own little head. Right, he must be going through some sort of midlife crisis, if you ask me. But then Doctor Who magazine published those live figures along with the consolidated and all the other figures, and it's actually as bad as some of us even predicted. It's probably even a little bit worse than we predicted, to be quite honest with you. But this week, these articles, these interviews have actually shone a light on how deluded this production team is, or the denial, or maybe it's both, or maybe they're just lying to themselves. But I do want to remind the fans of what Chris Chibnall had said when he had come under pressure, because this shows the mentality of this production team. They will never, ever, and I'm just going to say this to you right now, this production team will never admit that they failed, right? But they did fail. They failed in a very, very big way, right? But they'll never admit that to themselves. And this is why, and I'm going to remind people of this article, and it was an interview with Chris Chibnall. And the reason why I want to start with this is because this will set the whole basis, basically, to the whole stream. Because another thing I'm just going to say as well, remember this production team's reaction when fans were outraged about Graham O'Brien, Bradley Walsh's character, with the scene with the doctor over his worries about his cancer. And she replied back that she was socially awkward. And that actually upset a lot of families whose loved ones have probably died or are going through cancer. It's not a nice thing to have, and to have it to be dismissed like that. They didn't even apologize. It wasn't even an apology, right? They tried to justify their comments, right? This is what this production team has done from day one. But this is a reminder, and I'm just reading the headline, by the way, because we don't need to read the article, because you have already seen this. We've all covered this before. This is nothing new. But just want to remind you all what he said. Doctor Who's boss says he can't read reviews or online feedback. It's not a democracy. Right? So that's what he said. We'll go down to his actual quote here if it's here. Okay, I do remember. Here it is. I'm not on social media. I don't read press coverage. I don't read reviews, Chibnall told Doctor Who magazine. The one thing you can say about every series of Doctor Who that's ever been made is that some people like it and some didn't. That will be true forever. What you have to do is make the show you believe in, right? So it's not make the show that we fans want, right? It's what he wanted, right? Now, Matt Stevens actually, when Pitbull Gaming was reading out his article, contradicted himself in the very same article, where on one hand he was saying, you know, the fan feedback is basically important, and then on the other hand, he kind of dismisses it. And this is, so then he goes on, this is what Chibnall went on. What you have to do is make the show you believe in and hope that it connects, then go home. If you allow other things in, then we're not making our vision, right? In terms of external opinions, it's not a democracy, he added. We make the show we want to make, right? So Matt Stevens is basically continuing in that line with all the stuff that he's been talking about. Now, I'm not going to put the rest of the articles up on the screen. Obviously, what I'll do is, as I said, they're in the link description. You have to be very careful nowadays, you know. But I'm making it clear now that, you know, the links are in the link description, because, you know, YouTube is being very fickle lately. So I'm just being extra cautious. But all the articles are in the link description. So I'll read them out on my phone. I won't be going through every facet. I will read, obviously, the two Radio Times on a bit of a roll, by the way, with that articles. Um, Radio Times have done nobody any favors here with these articles. I have to be honest. But of course, you know, what do you expect? Right, let's see. Which one will I start off with now? Yeah, that's what I mean. They never had any intention of making this show for fans. They made it for themselves, as Pitbull said in his video as well. But look, myself, Pitbull, and others out there have been saying this for the last few years, right? And we've been criticised. We've been bullied. We've been vilified. We're told that we were lying to all you guys, right? We weren't lying. Because the thing about it is, we never had an agenda in the first place. Our only agenda was this. We just wanted good Doctor Who on TV. That was our only agenda. That's it. That's it. That's all we've ever wanted. Ever wanted was good Doctor Who. That's it. That's it. That's not too much to ask for. But unfortunately, the media, along with this production team and their supporters, have lowered expectations and have lowered standards. And I'm sorry, we should never compromise, right? RTD set the bar, right? If you can't get anywhere near that, well then I'm sorry, you're not good enough. Okay, and this is not fan arrogance, right? This is Doctor Who fans wanting what's best for the show, wanting the show to be well written, with well developed characters, great story arcs, great villains, great monsters, all of that, action packed, bit of drama, all the things we expect from Doctor Who. We have not got that under this regime. Simple as that. And I'm never going to lower my standards. Never. And it's quite funny that they go back to the man that actually set the standard in the first place for New Who. And now he's returning. So that shows me personally that they're not happy with the standard that has been set since RTD left. Right? Because even under Stephen Moffat, unfortunately for him, he's a great writer, but he was very inconsistent. And near the end, he struggled quite a bit. And then we came on to Chris Chibnall, who done something radical, thought by casting a female Doctor that was a radical move to make. It would shake the show up. But instead, it didn't. It had the opposite effect. Listen, I'm not saying someone says leave Moffat alone, LOL, and I know you're joking. But what I'm going to say is, look, I'm not having a go at Moffat. Moffat was just inconsistent, but he did give us some of the best stories, I have to say. I mean, nobody can deny that Heaven Sent is a great story. And personally speaking, I have a soft spot for Series 10 because I love the dynamic between the Doctor and the companion in that. It was a professor-student role, and I loved that. And you had Nardole there then doing his thing, which I loved. I loved Series 10. I'm not going to lie about it. Series 10 gets a lot of criticism, but I think he did go out on a bit of a high with that, with Series 10 anyway. Right, let's read this article anyway. So, Doctor Who producer denies ratings and struggles. 5 odd million is really healthy for any drama on terrestrial TV. Right, listen, anyway, before we start this article, because, you know, a lot of us have been pointing out what Matt Stevens is trying to do here is he's using, as Pitbull has said in his video as well, and a lot of Doctor Who fans have said this as well, he's using the consolidated figures, basically, right? No, not basically, that's what he's doing. He's using the consolidated figures to say, oh, this show is not struggling. It's got a consolidated average of 5.4 million. Right? So even if the Daleks, right, attracted a live audience of just over 3.2 million, a decline of almost 400,000 from episode 6 shown, right? That's what they're saying. But they're lying. Because Doctor Who magazine, actually, I think I have the screenshot. We'll throw it up. Pitbull Gaming did this already. So if you want to check out his video, because he does the old, puts the Doctor Who magazine one up and the Barb ones up as well. He can do all of that. I'm not good at doing that stuff. So I'll just put up, but they do show the 3 figures on this anyway, I think. So I'll just show you this. Hold on, just bear with me for a second. Right. I just don't. No, I haven't posted it to myself yet. But I will. Hold on. After I read this article, right? So he's saying 3.2 million, right? Now, Doctor Who TV .co.uk say episode 1 got 5.6 million, 69 million in consolidated, but live got 4.43 million, right? They're saying episode 2 got just over 5 million, and live it got 3.95. I don't know why they're lying. Right? They're actually lying. And I'm going to show you why they're lying. What he's doing is he's using the consent, and it's disingenuous. He either can't face the reality that he's got it so wrong. Chibnall, his boss, has got it so wrong that he just can't see past his own lies, or he truly believes that they are the figures. I don't know. It seems delusional to me. I'm just shocked. It comes across as a bit arrogant. Where's these figures now? Hold on. Right, here we go. Right, I've sent them to myself now, so here we go. I already thought I did. That's what's in name. Right, here we go. So this is he's a liar. He's an absolute liar. And I don't know why he's lying to his audience. So hope you can see that. Hold on, will you make it even bigger? There you go. I'm out of the picture. Right. So, as you can see here, this is the dates. Okay. This is the live figures. These are the 7-day. These are the 28-day. And this is the chart position. Right? So, Revolution of the Daleks, which dropped New Year's Day in 2021, got 2.81 million live views. Now, see all of these live figures here that I'm going to read out, right? I'm going to dispute them all anyway. Okay, I'll explain now in a minute. Right, so Revolution of the Daleks, as we said, 2.81 million. It's 7-day consolidated, right? 7-day, 6.36 million. Then it's 28-day, so that's a further 3 weeks, right? And you can see there, it's pathetic, 6.6 million. And its chart position is 10th. I don't know why they put a chart position, because it's irrelevant about the chart position of the show, right? You've got to look at what it's up against, right? It's up against it's up against crap, okay? And it's still not performing, right? They put it on the cushy Sunday night as well, and it's still doing bad. This is how bad this is. So, the start of Doctor Who Flux, the Halloween apocalypse, right? The 31st of October. So live, just over 3.07 million people. So just over 3 million people watch. 3,700,000, isn't it? Yeah. Right? Then it's 7-day, right? It gains a few there, 5.81. But look at the 28-day from the 7-day, right? This is the startling thing about it. It's not even after 28 days. These people are telling us that TV habits have changed, right? So when are people? So this is the question I have to ask these people that say that, right? Explain to me, when are people going to watch then Doctor Who Flux? Because that's 28 days and they still haven't watched the episode. So what? Are they going to wait the next year, 2 years, the next decade, the next 100 years? He's still going to be spinning that then, right? Anyway, you could see here, right? So the 7-day. So this is what he's using, Matt Stevens, and this 28 days. It's not gaining that much, right? It's not gaining that much at all, right? No. So look, War the Sun Tyrants. So live 2.53 million, 7-day. It did get a bit of a bounce there, 5.13 million. But look at again the 28-day consolidated figure. Not many people are watching. And again, look, right? So it's 20 after 28 days, the first two episodes, right? 6 million, right? Then by the time you get to the War of the Santarans, 28-day, we're going 5 million. We're going down again, so that's 5.65 million. Then Once Upon a Time, 5.23 million to 28 consolidated. Live 2.63 million. Watch that. You can all see the figures there yourselves, right? But look at this. Eve of the Daleks, 2 million. And then in the 7-day, it added another 2.4, right? Yeah, 2.4. So are we going to see a 28-day figure that's going to be lower than this? But anyway, I'm going to actually say something even further here now. Right, you can see the figures there for yourself, so I don't need to call them all out because you can see them on the screen. But I'm going to dispute all these live figures right now. Right, and I'm going to say something that will probably upset a few people out there, right? Especially the other side that say this is grand, right? 2.81 million did not watch Revolution of the Daleks live. 3.07 million people didn't watch. All those live figures are not the true live figures either. And I'll tell you why, right? Some people in the UK, right, will watch Country File, right? What tends to happen then is after that show's over, people will get up, they make a cup of tea or whatever, blah, blah, blah. They mightn't necessarily change the channel straight away, right? So in reality, that 2 million figure, like all the live figures here, are still actually inflated. Because what the live figures don't take into account is the fact, what time did they all switch off at? That you trying 2.81 million people did not tune in to watch Eve of the Daleks. Some would have tuned out, just like the first episode of Doctor Who Flux all the way down. So I'd even dispute those numbers and say that they're actually inflated numbers, because a lot of people would tune out, right? Because they don't take into account when people turn over the channel. So that's the thing. I would actually dispute those in those. Actually, you could really say all of the figures are probably inflated. But definitely the live, which makes it even worse. And here's the question I would ask all the supporters of this era, right? So for Jodie Whittaker's first episode, 13 million people apparently tuned in, right? Which again, I would dispute, and I've always disputed anyway. But let's just say 13 million people did watch Jodie Whittaker's first episode, right? And let's just say 2 million tuned in for Eve of the Daleks, okay? Let's just say. So I'd ask all those people that said TV habits have changed and this, that, and the other. Well, then explain to me where the other 11 million people have gone. As I said, are they going to wait until next year to watch it? The next 10 years to watch it? Next 20? Next 100 years? When are they going to watch? Where's those 11 million people? Where did they disappear to? See, the reality is, as I've said, and as I've said from the very beginning when I first started this YouTube channel, BBC, the media, and all of these fans that support this era are gaslighting fans. This version of Doctor Who is putting Doctor Who's legacy at risk. It's destroying the ratings. People are tuning out. We've seen attacks on fans who've said that they don't like this. It doesn't matter. Fans are entitled to their opinion, whether they like or dislike. But we've seen it in this fandom. It's an absolute disgrace. And the veil of lies has been finally smashed. And the truth has come to the surface. And, you know, as I said, any of these people keep bringing up about the spin. You know, just ignore them now. The argument is over. It's done. You cannot spin this, right? And I take no pleasure coming in here on this YouTube channel, picking this apart. It's not what I wanted to do as a Doctor Who fan. As I said, I haven't lowered my standards and never will, right? Just because others out there have and accept this era of absolute rubbish. And it is rubbish. It's no resemblance to Doctor Who whatsoever. And I'm sick of fans trying to compare this to the classic era. It's nothing like the classic era. It never will be. The classic era is loved and adored. This era is hated. Now, I could have went into more detail with the Matt Stevens article, that one. But to be quite honest with you, Pitbull Gaming's done a great video on it. You should go and check his out. But I've just covered basically the basics. But, you know, he's talking out of his backside. But another comment from him, right, which I don't know. Maybe Charlotte is right. They've probably sent this poor guy out to do the PR, right? And he's been put in this position. But when he comes out with something stupid like this, you know, I just have to laugh. He said, Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker's Doctor Who legacy assured, says show executive. They do have a legacy, all right. But I don't think it's the legacy that he thinks. So let's see what the legacy he thinks it is. And I'll tell him exactly what Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker's legacy will be. So Matt Stevens has no doubt that the showrunner and star will be remembered with love once they're gone. And yeah, of course. Me favorite journalist is writing this article. He's the Radio Times journalist that has actually defended this era more than any other journalist that I've seen. I think you all know who I'm talking about. It's Mr. Hugh Fullerton himself. So let's continue. He says, Doctor Who star and showrunner are soon to depart, with both Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall set to hand the Tardis keys this autumn before Russell T Davies takes over the show in 2023. And executive producer Matt Stevens leaving this year is also looking back on the pair's legacy, noting that despite occasional complaints that the series was too woke, he believes fans will remember this era with fondness. He said, opinion is fickle, so you take it all with a pinch of salt, he told Doctor Who magazine. Okay, right. Number one, Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall's legacy will be this, Matt. They'll be forever known as the people that dragged Doctor Who through the mud. They'll be forever known as two of the most clueless people to have ever set foot on a Doctor Who set. Chris Chibnall, for the fact that he's supposed to be a Doctor Who fan and completely wrote the Doctor and destroyed his origins, right? No Doctor Who fan in their right mind would actually do that, right? They know what to touch and what not to touch, and he went there and he failed miserably. Jodie Whittaker will be remembered for the Doctor that, when was first cast, insulted fans as soon as she got in the door, did a stylist video where she openly mocked fans for not liking her casting. She did the whole breaking of the glass ceiling video as well, which was cringeworthy. And she started talking about the male gaze and how it was toxic and how Doctor Who needed to be a role model for little girls. Basically dismissing the fact that all the other doctors that we had were role models to not just little boys, but also little girls. But that wasn't good enough for her. She wanted the show to be exclusively for little girls, but even that's backfired because they're not watching. They're not watching. So their legacy is that they're going to be remembered. And remember, RTD is back, so we don't know if his return is going to be successful yet, right? We do have a lot of hope. But Chris Chibnall's legacy could be he was the one that destroyed this show if RTD can't rescue this. I do believe he can, but I'm just saying, right? So that's what his legacy, and that's what her legacy will be, because she played the main part. And also the fact that she didn't understand the role that she was playing is another reason why fans didn't take to her. So their legacy won't be with love and fondness. Maybe the people that like this era, that genuinely like this era and actually tuned in, will look back with love and fondness. But I can tell you, I can't wait for the last two episodes to drop, the last two specials, because, I won't be looking back with love and fondness. Right? The Timeless Children, when that happened, you've all seen how gutted I was over that. I take no shame. I'm not ashamed that I broke down. It was a heartbreaking thing to me and a lot of fans out there. Right? This meant something to us. But it didn't mean anything to them. I've showed you that article, the interview, the quotes from Chris Chibnall himself. Matt Stevens now saying opinions are fickle. It was never a democracy under these people. They were going to write, as I've been saying on this channel, as others have been saying in this fandom for a very long time, they will write Doctor Who how they see fit. And they don't give a damn about what we fans think, because they will write what they believe is their vision for the show. Rather than Chris Chibnall's job was simple. Right? He was a custodian. He came in and his role was to protect the legacy of this show, right? Protect the legacy and the history of this show. And he failed because he made all the wrong decisions, all the wrong choices. And on top of that, he couldn't write sci-fi if his life depended on it. And by the way, he also said, obviously, about complaints that the series was too woke. He believes fans will remember the era with fondness. Opinion is fickle. Well, it was, whether you like it or not, right? And whether fans out there like it or not, or the people that liked all of this like it or not, it was. It was in your face. RTD had a way of doing it. And by the way, for all you fans out there that think, oh, they're not my doctors, as you keep calling us, are going to be surprised when RTD comes back because he's very progressive. We know. We know. The difference is when he incorporates all of this, right? Story comes first, and then it's important that the characters that he's introducing are developed properly, right? So then when he wants to bring up a certain topic or a political agenda, he's covered all bases, and it's well developed with its characters and its story. Okay? That's the difference. Chris Chibnall couldn't do that if his life depended on it. So he tried to justify, criticism, and he says every doctor gets it, every showrunner gets it. I love Stephen Moffat's reaction when RTD was announced as coming back, writing RTD must go on Instagram. I thought it was so easy because there's always someone waiting to have a pop. Right. Well, first of all, Moffat didn't say RTD must go for a pop anyway. It was because Moffat already knew that RTD was in it. But he says every doctor gets it. That's true. You're right. Every doctor has got criticism. The problem is that because Jodie Whittaker's a woman and was the first female doctor, she was above criticism. So they talk about equality and to be treated equally, but they shut down criticism of a female doctor because she happens to be a woman. Right? So he contradicts himself there. Every showrunner gets it. Again, you're right. Every showrunner did get it. RTD got it. Stephen Moffat definitely got it with some of the decisions he made. But again, Chris Chibnall got it worse because everything about his era was bad. It's at least with Stephen Moffat, as I said, he was an inconsistent writer, but he still gave us some of the best loved episodes. RTD for me was more consistent, and he gave us a lot of good episodes. Yeah, he still did make the odd one or two episodes that fans don't like out there, but overall, RTD was the most consistent. So yeah. And he says that's good in a way, people having a pop. The great thing is we have freedom of speech and people are free to say what they want. But I showed you that article. That's why I wanted to show you that article, to show how much of a hypocrite this man is, because his boss literally said, well, didn't literally say, you heard it from the horse's mouth, I showed you the article. It's not a democracy. He doesn't read reviews, and he doesn't give a crap what fans think. So, he said the great thing is we have freedom of speech, but yeah, if you don't acknowledge that, and he's willing to listen, well, then you're denying it. Every era of Doctor Who has had its massive champions, and every era and every Doctor has had people going, it's not like it used to be. And then afterwards, a lot of kind contemporary commentators disappear with short distance of time. That's there is a huge affection looking back. So basically, what he's trying to say is people like myself, will disappear and stuff because it was fashionable to criticize. Basically, listen, you could say what you want. Yeah, in the past, as we said, nobody's denied. This is the thing that I don't think you seem to get. Every era has had its criticism. Every era has had its praise. Every Doctor has had its criticism. Costume the same. TARDIS console in the exterior, the interior, the showrunner choice. It's always happened. But unfortunately, what you don't realize is that while that happened, right, as soon as their episodes dropped, a lot of that was quelled by the showrunners. This has been a constant since your boss took over. The discontent has not quelled. I think when the story is written, Jodie's Doctor will be thought of quite rightly with huge affection and love, quite frankly. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. Again, to those fans that actually like this series, yes, you're right. But to the rest of the Doctor Who fandom and the 11 million people that tuned out, nope. And Stevens thinks this retrospective affection will also apply to showrunner Chris Chibnall. I disagree. I love Chris and it's been an utter honour and privilege to go on this journey with him, he said. I think his place in canon and his history of Doctor Who is assured. It was Chris that wanted to bring in a female actor as the Doctor. Yeah, he made that clear. But then, do you remember the denier said that no, he actually cast men and women. No, he didn't. He only wanted the female Doctor. That was his whole thing of taking up the job in the first place. Now 5 years on, you go on. Why was it even remarkable? But it always takes someone to actually do it, and Chris did it. Without Chris, none of what I've been able to do would be possible. See, Stevens is being loyal to his boss there, right? And then he tried to say at the time they didn't have Captain Marvel, Brie Larson as Captain Marvel back then. So basically, what they're trying to say is that they would have forced to do a female lead. But the difference between Captain Marvel and Doctor Who is that Captain Marvel is actually a female character that uh, has her own universe and her own comics. Like she's an actual character that was created. Whereas the Doctor, they just decided to change the gender because they thought it was radical. So there's no comparison there either. So it's absolute rubbish. So he said because for the showrunner of Doctor Who, so he's picking, because the showrunner of Doctor Who, my God, the responsibility is immense. It's immense. It's not just writing the scripts; it's everything that comes with it. The weight of expectation. He borne it brilliantly well and with class. Now, with just 2 episodes still to air, fans will just have to wait and see what Whittaker and Chibnall have planned for their big sign off. Based on Stevens' comments, it sounds like we're in for quite of a ride. No, we're not. And the thing about it is, if he understood the responsibility, and the responsibility was immense, well, then why did he make all the decisions that he made to make it harder for himself? See, this is the thing. I think Chris Chibnall, we've all seen his interview where he criticised Doctor Who writers Pip and Jane Baker, right? I think Chris Chibnall, as a fan, a self-confessed fan, got a job that he had turned down previously, remember? And then he eventually took it when he saw an opportunity that BBC were going to let him do what he wanted to do. I think Chris Chibnall's the type of fan that got the golden goose but didn't know actually what to do with it. So he tried to be radical, and he produced Series 11, and that did not go down well. Then when it didn't, remember this guy, right? He had his own vision, and that was Series 11, right? If you look at Series 12, it's completely different to Series 11. Series 11 had a completely different tone to Series 12, right? He brought more of the familiar back for Series 12, right? And then he tried to do the same Series 13, but tried to go bigger and better, right? Series 11 was his true vision, right? He wanted to actually continue that line of the story, right? And maybe incorporate the timeless child nonsense into it as well. But he was forced to course correct after Series 11 had did so badly. Because remember, when this man first took over, in his first interview, he told us he didn't like the Daleks. He told us he didn't like certain villains that we've grown to love and know, right? So he made it clear he was going to do something completely different, which he did, let's be honest, for Series 11. But then Series 12 then, why would he go against what he said in Series 11 and stick by his convictions? Because he knows that his vision, his true vision of Doctor Who during Series 11, and I believe he would have carried that on. We probably would have had more of Tim Shaw, actually, to be quite honest with you. I think they would have went down the Stenza route, to be quite honest with you, right? But I think he had the course correct. And then we saw his flaws for everybody to see. In fairness, he has to get credit to a certain extent for trying something different with Doctor Who for Series 11. It failed, right? But he did try something new, right? So you can give him kudos for having the balls to try something completely different. But Series 12 and 13, he went back to the tried and tested. Right? So this man literally went back on everything that he said. And you've got to question why. Because it was bleeding viewers like the gash that was flooding the Titanic before it sank. That's why the show tanked after Series 11. It did so much damage to the show. And we said it at the time when we were criticised, they're overreacting. They're overreacting. Series 11's not that bad. They're not my doctors. Hey, because that's what they call us. They're not my doctors. Hey, Jodie Whittaker, because she's a woman. And the hey, Chris Chibnall, because he championed a woman. Blah, 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 blah. The same crap that comes out of our mouth every time. We criticise because it made no sense giving the role to a woman when, for over half a century, it was a bloke. Right? If it was done for the right reasons and it actually made sense, you never know, could have been a different reaction to it. And maybe there'll be still fans out there that think it shouldn't be given to a woman. That's fine, fair enough. Fan opinion, right? It all should, everybody has the right to their opinion. Right? But Chris Chibnall, right? We're giving out about him because he made the choice. And then on top of that, then, his writing wasn't great. So what did he expect? What did he expect? Right? And then we hear in an interview that Jodie Whittaker, the costume designer, because someone's just had to bring it up there, right? We always knew that she had a hand in the costume. We said it during Series 11, right, that she had a hand. But the costume designer has actually come out and said that she specifically asked for the rainbow because she wanted to show how inclusive the show was. And I start scratching my head because the thing about it is, show me in the ratings where this show wasn't inclusive for all before you came along, little lady. Show me the evidence that backs that up. Because if you go on to the cosplay sites, or you're fans of Doctor Who people in the community, right? And you know, they dress up as the Doctor, men and women. Their kids have even dressed up as their favourite Doctor. Mostly bloke doctors, by the way. Right? So why did she think that this show needed to be more inclusive? It never did. It always was inclusive. We didn't say as Doctor Who fans, sorry, as a woman, you can't be a fan of Doctor Who because it's for boys only. Where is that in the small print? In the Doctor Who fandom? Where have we all said, show me, right? Where did we say that this was only an exclusive show for us boys? Go on, show me. Absolutely rubbish. This show, we welcome as fans, we welcome anybody who wants to be a fan of this show. We welcome anybody into this fandom, because Doctor Who truly is an inclusive show, and always has been and always will be, no matter what those people say. Absolutely ridiculous, man. This all the lies and the illusion now has shattered. We're in for quite a ride. No, we're not. At the end of the day, we just want this to be over now, because we want RTD. We want to see what he's going to bring. You know, the man who brought it back in 2005, who actually knew what he was doing with the show. Right? We don't give a crap about the next 2 episodes. But we'll still watch them because we've watched this era, and I'm determined to watch it to the end. I want to see how this ends. But at the end of the day, RTD, I can't wait for him. Roll on the good times again. That's what I say. Gatekeeping this fandom for years. It's absolutely shocking. So here, another one, right, by Hugh Fullerton, because, you know, he's on a roll with his articles for Radio Times. So, Doctor Who producer teases possible heartbreak for the Doctor and Yaz. I think that's a constant thing that the Doctor's grappling with, how close to get to her friends and companions. It's fair to say Doctor Who's New Year's Eve at the Daleks had fans talking, especially when it came to Jodie Whittaker's Doctor and her friend Yaz. You see, after years of fan speculation, it was officially confirmed in the episode that Yaz had romantic feelings for the Doctor. Because that's what it's all about. See, after years of fan speculation, no, it wasn't fan speculation. See, what was this? It was some little deluded idiot with a couple of other deluded idiots that were watching these episodes and basically taking lines out of context, right? And then coming up with this imaginary relationship between Yaz and the Doctor. See, the thing about it is, we know Yaz might be bisexual, right? It was kind of hinted towards, but not definitive, right? Because this is what Chris Chibnall does. He likes to bait these fans, you know. They think they're actually getting something great, yeah. They think they're getting something great, but it's disrespectful to the people that he's actually trying to pander to, and the fact that they don't see that, because for them, you know, remember when this all happened? Do you remember all the accounts that were coming out and saying, "Oh, it's finally happened, Jasmine, it's happened. Oh, I feel great. This relationship, this whole thing has made me stronger as a person. It's great. Oh man, I can't get over it." right? They weren't actually talking about the story in Eve of the Daleks, by the way. They were just more concerned about Tasman. Yeah, right. So that's what they were thinking about. They weren't talking about the episode itself. It was just Tasman, right? Anyway, there's nothing on the Doctor's side to actually suggest that she actually has any romantic feelings for Yaz. Now, listen, we can have the debate whether the Doctor changing gender means that she's still attracted to women or not, right? That's beside the point, right? If you look at the 3 seasons that we've had and the specials, show me the evidence. Show me the evidence that shows me that the Doctor herself, just the Doctor herself, has romantic feelings for Yasmin Khan. And you know what? There's not one line that you could show me, right? And if you show me a screenshot, by the way, because I know what some of you will do, so I'm already going to dismiss it before you even try it, right? If you show me a screenshot of some glance taken out of context, they got the right camera angle and screenshot it. Nah, don't want to see that rubbish either. Show me a line. Show me evidence that shows me that the Doctor herself has feelings for Yaz. Okay, Yaz has come out and told Dan, and then, by the way, as brought up by Problem Being, very good point, saying that a straight man outing his bisexual friend. Well, we don't know if she's bisexual or lesbian, so either one. But a straight man is outing a person, and nobody has any complaints with that. Should that not be down to Yaz herself to actually go and express those feelings to the Doctor herself? What gives Dan the right to go and talk to the Doctor behind Yaz's back and tell the Doctor, by the way, Yaz has feelings for you, right? Okay? Because I've listened to people who are gay and lesbian, and I can tell you, they're not happy about this. They're not happy about this. What gives Dan the right to go and do that? Absolutely none. It's not for him to say, right? And it's the same in every other sort of relationship but two, right? Nobody should be out on anybody. But again, you don't care because you know that Yaz has feelings for the Doctor. But you will not be able to show me any evidence that suggests that the Doctor actually has feelings for Yaz. Even when the Doctor saw herself, she said that she was cute because she got a bit of an ego, this Doctor. So she fancied herself, right? She showed no suggestion, because some fans tried to use that as she was saying Yaz was cute. No, she wasn't. She was saying that she was cute herself. So, and now departing series producer Matt Stevens has addressed the Tasman reaction for the first time, noting that he was pleased the relationship had fans so invested, but there might also be difficult times ahead for the duo. Now, I did report on this channel a while back, if you remember. Chris Chibnall obviously loves debate, and one of the rumours was that Yaz was actually going to be killed off. And now another rumour that's come about is there could be a possibility that Yaz could get her own version of this kind of like what RTD did with the Meta Crisis Doctor and get her happy ever after. But with those comments there by Stevens, there are difficult times ahead for the duo, right? and there's only 2 episodes to go. It'll be the most short-lived relationship that the Doctor has ever had. And listen, if the Tasman fans are happy with that and happy with the fact that Chris Chibnall gave you no substance, right, and didn't develop this more and didn't do it properly, and you are just happy, right, because you just want the final step for all of these fans will be now, mark my words, they don't care what's going to happen in the next 2 episodes except for one thing. They want to see that kiss now, right? And that's the only thing that they'll worry about in the next 2 episodes is whether those two will finally in the TARDIS or wherever it is, right? That's all they care about. They won't talk about the episodes as a whole. It'll just be about Tasman, whether it'll happen or not, right? That's it. He says you can't go on your phone without something about Tasman popping up, but I didn't even know what it meant until suddenly it clicked and I was like, wow. I think since Russell brought the show back, most of the companion stories have been love stories, very different sort of love, platonic, best friends love, sometimes a romantic, requited love. Sorry, I can't. Like Martha, sometimes like that, like Rose and the Doctor, it's always been there. But I'm very pleased with the positive response to those scenes between Yaz and Dan and the Doctor. I thought they were beautifully played. Mandeep was stunning. The positive reaction is obviously from the Tasman side, but the rest of us weren't because it was a cheap ass move. Okay, cheap. It was disrespectful. No, Dan had no right to out Yaz like that. Sorry. Say he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. Anyway, 51 people are watching right now. Do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. As I said, with this channel, you'll never get bullshit. We've been speaking the truth on this channel for the last 5 years, and we'll continue to do that, especially over the next era as well. You know, we don't gaslight people on this channel. We say it as it is, and we have been. A lot of other channels out there have also been doing the same. So, however, Stevens also came up with something of a warning for fans, hinting that the very nature of Doctor Who meant that there was unlikely to be a happy ending for the Doctor and Yaz. So there you go. There you go. As I said, all of these articles, the full articles are in the link description. Go and check them out. Go and check them out and read them for yourself. Share them. You know, leave your comments. You know, I just think it's quite telling. These people just absolutely don't have a clue. Or they're just refusing to acknowledge it. So, Doctor Who TV actually did an article on the Radio Times article where Chibnall's Matt Stevens called the criticism fickle, right? Because I wanted to see if they have actually given their own views on it, or have they just written the article. As I've said as well, I remember, you know, before, you know, all the censorship start coming in, you used to be able to read the comment section of all these articles. You can't anymore. They're not, you have to sign in now. They won't make them public because the public comments do be very scathing. Because see what the fans on Twitter don't realize is that, okay, you can call whatever you want to call us on Twitter, right? But when an article that's a public article, right, and there's the British public are seeing it on different platforms, and they're going in and they're talking about it, and they're leaving you can't hide that, you can't spin that. So yeah, it's basically the same thing. Every doctor gets it. Yeah, we do. But have they? No. So they haven't given their comment on it. They've just basically just put up his quote for everybody to see. Very interesting. Very interesting. But look, we'll finish up on this part of it now in a second. I'm just going to say a few more words on it, and then we've got something it's Doctor Who related, but it's got to do with the animations, and I do want to talk about that as well. And then maybe we'll bring one or two years on, just to give you our opinions. I'm not going to be staying on for too long. Anyway, because I haven't had my dinner yet, so I'll have to have something to eat. So I'll just do a summary of this, and then obviously we'll read the other article, give me views on that, and then we'll bring one or two years on, and you can give your opinion. So if you haven't seen any of the articles that I've talked about, they're in the link description. Go and read the. I'm not. It wouldn't be. Read the articles, because I want to bring people. Obviously, we bring one or two years on, and you can give your opinions about the different articles and what you have to say. And if I can ask as well, because as you've noticed, I've tried to keep the bad language down. So yeah, if anybody comes on, if we can keep the language down, because the last stream was limited because there was a bit of bad language from myself and a couple of the other panelists, and it didn't go down well with YouTube. So I'm gonna ask everybody if and I have to try really hard myself, because you know me, sometimes I let the odd one slip. But if we can keep it to a minimum, that would be absolutely fantastic. Because as I said, YouTube are just getting a bit fickle. We can't allow it in the live chat anyway. As you know, Google get in there anyway. So what I'm trying to say is we have to keep it to a minimum on the panel now, because it's getting ridiculous what YouTube's doing. This has been a bad month for the channel, with all the streams being limited and stuff like that. So I'm trying to navigate my way through that. As you know, I get very passionate, and sometimes I might let the LF word drop and stuff like that. But you know me. Anyway, in summary of all of this Matt Stevens business, all I will say is that finally, all the lies and the deceit and all the gaslighting and all the spin over the last 5 years, and remember, a lot of people are on the front line, as we call it, the likes of myself and other channels out there that have been bullied, vilified, and been attacked. For basically telling the truth. These people have called us liars. They've called us every name under the sun that you could think of, every toxic little name that you can think of, labels, all because they were trying to hide the fact, or they're just as delusional as the showrunners and the executive producers that run the show. Maybe they just can't face reality. But the reality is that this shroud of lies has finally been lifted, and the truth is coming to the surface. And the truth and the fact of the matter is that Doctor Who ratings are in serious trouble, and this show has not performed the way that it should, and the way that some out there have claimed that it has. The reality is that this show under Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker has been a complete and utter shambles, because Chris Chibnall didn't understand what he actually had. He cast the wrong woman. If he wanted to go with a woman, fine. I might have still had a problem with it, or maybe I wouldn't have. right? If he had brought the right actress in, some people believe it's a male role. That's fine, fair enough. We're all entitled to our opinions. Different opinions count, right? Nobody's opinion should be dismissed, even those that have supported this era. But what I do not like is the bully tactics that were used from the other side. Anybody that had the balls to come out and tell the truth all along, have been vilified, and some have been attacked so badly and being bullied so much that those people are no longer talking about Doctor Who anymore, or no longer have an online presence in the fandom thanks to those fans. At the end of the day, right, Jodie Whittaker's Doctor was never above criticism. They talk about equality in this fandom. Well, true equality is that she had the right to be criticised, just like every other Doctor, like Matt Streven said. Every other showrunner had a right to be criticised, just like Chris Chibnall did. But under this regime, as Chris Chibnall pointed out, it was not a democracy. So, in summary, Doctor Who's legacy right now is in tatters. But Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker's legacy will be that they will be remembered for nearly destroying this show. Now, I say that because I have hope RTD can work his magic. But if RTD cannot work his magic and this is beyond rescuing, which I don't believe it is anyway, but if it is, then Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker will be known as the showrunner and Doctor who destroyed the legacy of Doctor Who and ended the show, right? That'll be their legacy. They won't be looked back at with fondness and love as Matt Stevens has claimed. They won't. And that's the reality. The fans of this era will probably look back. There's not many of them, but they will look back, yes. But for the 11 million people that tuned out, and remember, 13 for The Woman Who Fell to Earth, 2 million live views, by the way, for Eve of the Daleks. So 11 million people have decided not to watch because, TV habits have changed. They're going to wait the next decade and 20 years or maybe 30 years to watch this era because, TV habits have changed. Well, that argument has been blown out the window, and all of those people that have been spinning the ratings for the last few years, I'm sorry, but the game's up, and it's time for you to accept the situation and accept reality that this era of Doctor Who has done a lot of damage to the show, and it's now time to unite behind RTD and hope that he can turn this around. And I do believe that he can, but he needs the support of everybody now. This is not the time to give up on Doctor Who quite yet. Let's see what RTD has to give us before we make any decisions as a fandom. Because, it's a critical time now, as I said. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Right. We're gonna change it up a little bit. And I've got one more article. Now, it's in regards to the Doctor Who animations. So, this is from, as I said, the link to the article is in the link description. So, this is from Fanside. It's a site. So, they're saying now, and I have to make this clear, they are saying allegedly here. So, we have to be very careful. They are saying allegedly. So let's, I know some people have covered this, but I'll give my own personal thoughts on it. So missing Doctor Who episodes allegedly found in the Middle East. And this article is by someone called Michael East. And it was put up 5 days ago. I just think that's funny that the article has Middle East in it, and then his second name is East. Maybe it's not really funny, but I do think it's funny. So the fate of Doctor Who's 97 missing episodes from the 1960s has always been a topic of discussion amongst fans of the BBC show, with entire websites devoting to figuring out what happened to the junked material. Forum threads run into tens of thousands of replies, and dedicated fans enthusiastically discuss where the episodes may still survive around the globe, passionately debating every potential rumour. Now, a piece of gossip published in the Plymouth Herald has inflamed interest, with claims surfacing online that 17 episodes still exist in the Middle East. Now, again, want to make clear that the journalist in this article has actually said allegedly. So we have to be very careful and let you say that they're not saying this is fact. Now, the reason why I keep saying that is because unfortunately there are some, because I've actually broken my own Doctor Who information, as you know, on this channel. But some fans out there don't know the difference between fact and rumor and alleged stuff. So I'm just making it clear that this is all alleged and not fact. So we won't read that part. So they found enemy of the world and the web affair in Nigeria, as you all know. It was something of a miracle, and they were. So now this is the rumor itself. Now, one fan, Craig Gable, has claimed that the missing Web of Fear episode isn't the only material out there. The suggestion is that 17 lost Doctor Who episodes are still around in the Middle East, with parties there having required the material from others in Japan, New Zealand, and Australia in 1967 and 1970. Writing on Facebook, Cable said that the material is in Arabic, and while he didn't disclose any information regarding the location, he referenced war zones. This perhaps indicates the site is Yemen or Syria. Despite the comment, it seems more than likely the location is Iran, and there has never been any evidence that Doctor Who was broadcast in Syria. An unnamed broadcasting agency allegedly confirmed that the episodes were indeed sent to the area. So he hasn't released any exact details. So he's saying it's believed to include the first 2 episodes of the classic Hartnell story, Marco Polo, one of the stories that fans would most like to see. Other material said to come from Patrick Troughton's era, the Second Doctor. Those who know Doctor Who missing episodes will understand some of the claims might just be possible. Marco Polo was broadcast in Australia in 1965. The fate of the film Prince is unknown, with no documentation surviving. Extensive investigations have concluded that the material is almost certainly no longer in that country. The episodes were also broadcast in Aden, the temporary capital of Yemen, later that year. Again, no documentation survives to suggest it was ever returned to the BBC or junked. However, it seems likely that the 2 episodes being referred to were also sent to Iran. After viewing the 2 episodes of Marco Polo, a studio in Iran purchased the entire package on offer from New Zealand. However, the Arabic package didn't include Marco Polo, meaning the rest of the story would not be there. It is also possible that Iran sent 2 sample episodes elsewhere in the Middle East. Wow. I have to say, right, I'm just gonna say something. This to me sounds a bit far-fetched. I'd love this to be true. But here's the thing. Obviously, they said the article said that another article said that they were held to ransom. So it'll be interesting to see if this article actually brings up why we haven't been able to get our hands on them. Is the latest Doctor Who missing episodes rumor true? So they asked the question. However, it should be noted that the history of Doctor Who fandom is littered with hoaxes, false leads, and fantasy. The claim that materials include Troughton-era stories is intriguing, as pre-dubbed Arabic packages that the BBC sent to the Middle East in the 1960s only had stories featuring William Hartnell's stories, which played the Fourth Doctor. There's no evidence that any Patrick Troughton series were broadcast anywhere in the Middle East. As for episodes being broadcast in Yemen, the belief has always been that the country was supplied with fresh prints rather than having them bicycled from another country. All of this ambiguity is standard when talking about missing episodes. In 2013, rumors swirled that Marco Polo had been found along the Web of Fear, the enemy of the world. Later, gossip suggested that as many as 100 or more episodes had been uncovered. These rumors were false and stirred up a lot of bad blood in the fandom. The person responsible for starting the rumors has never been identified. Some more pessimistic fans, perhaps remembering the false hopes of yesteryear, have pointed out that Cable has a Doctor Who book coming out next year. Other naysayers have urged Cable to stop his efforts as they are impeding our other investigations. Should his claims be valid, he warns in one of his posts that recovering the episode might be difficult for political reasons, since the organisation that currently holds them considers them a political asset and is unwilling to part with them with offers of money having been already made. Since making these claims, he deleted his comments. Of course, he's deleted his comments. Right? I think we can safely say then that that's bullshit. See, here's the thing. If he's telling the truth, right, no matter what the backlash is, he would have kept the comments up. I would have anyway. I don't know what's up with these people. If you believe what you're being told is true, right, you stand by your convictions. You pull it up and you leave it up, even if you do get backlash, right? What you say then in the comment section is that, look, I'm trying to look more into this to see if there's anything in this. This is what I've been told, and I'll go and investigate it, right? But he took his comments down. So if someone takes their comments down, people are automatically going to think it's not true, right? So that was a bad move, in my opinion. If you truly believe that this is the case, you stick to your convictions, man. I'm sick of this fandom flip-flopping or bound down to pressure, or, you know, to get a bit of criticism and then the U-turn. If you do believe that they're out there, then stick by your guns. But if you ask me, even reading it, I thought it was a bit far-fetched. But either way, if someone out there does truly have information where some of these missing episodes are, you know, it'd be nice to see some sort of evidence as well, or something to indicate that it might be a possibility. But this is what these people don't do. So, because it is very hard to prove, in fairness to them, but there has to be something out there. And we do know there are other missing episodes out there, right? We're not stupid. They're out there somewhere, but the question still remains: how good quality are they? It's been years now. Film does deteriorate. So what are we looking at? Are we looking at filming that has been stored properly and in good condition? Or are we looking at film that's not even worth pursuing? That's the thing. That's the difficult thing when getting all of this. But very fascinating, I have to say. I'll just say, you know, it doesn't look good when you delete your post. But you know, he could have been advised as well, just in case there are stuff over there, you know, could create some tension or something. So maybe there could be that as well. But it just doesn't look good. Just doesn't look good. I have to say, yeah, it's always a private collector. And listen, yeah, probably is a private collector, because they're not stupid. They know how valuable old film is. It is very valuable, you know. So, you know, some people could hold the BBC to financial ransom. You know, if BBC wanted so bad because they know they can make money off it, well, then it's up to them to kind of cough up the money, isn't it? And all of these private dealers, if in fact they are in the hands of private dealers, well, they'd know this. They'd know this. You know, they could make a bit of money. And then at the end of the day, then when Disney, when BBC then, you know, either turn it into an animation, or if it's good enough because the film is still great to actually release the film, they're in for making a lot of money, like, you know? So these dealers know that. So, and at the same time as well, yeah, I will say this: you have to be careful because you know you could be getting something. You know, you know when people are buying these things, do they get to inspect the goods before they actually? But you know that sort of way, there could be some sort of you know iffy business going on, if you know what I mean. I'm trying to change. I don't want to actually say the R word. Uh But it could be a bit of iffy business, and BBC could be left with mud on their faces, you know? But at the same time, yeah, Lee is right, you know, could end up in a skip. So, you know, there is that risk. That's why you pay the money, man. You pay the money just in case, you know, you never know. They could be throwing out something that's actually, you know, worth saving. You know, that policy from BBC anyway, I'll never understand it. You know, well, to a certain extent, I can. Obviously, they were trying to make space and all of that stuff, but I mean, they should have archived these properly. You know, and then when the time came, then there's a lot of digital technology now. They could have all digitized it, and then you know, what the Film Institute does in America. They preserve these film for future generations. You know, that's what should have happened, but that wasn't the thinking back then, you know. And in fairness, you know, it wasn't the thinking back then. So, but I just think it's ludicrous. Right. Anyway. Oh, by the way, as well, just one more thing. I didn't bring up the article, but for again, Matt Stevens made some interesting comments about Whitaker's End. And he did say that he talked about the era being bookended, right? Um, as I've said on this channel from the beginning, RTD will not be retconning what Chris Chibnall is doing. I've also even talked about on the channel that he'll just ignore because, you know, what I believe is actually going to happen, if you take those comments, what he said, what he's basically saying is from Doctor Who from 2005 to 2022, that'll be bookended. That's the end of that chapter of Doctor Who. When RTD takes over, he gives us something completely different and just ignores what's happened in the past, right? And that's what I've been telling people on this channel from day one. And he's actually come out and said that'll be bookended. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is, as we spoke about on this channel ages ago, I think we'll get the beginning of Jodie Whittaker's regeneration, but I don't actually think we're going to see who she's going to regenerate in, and then we're just going to get the titles. So he said bookended. So that's it. It's clipped. That's exactly what that means. So I told you all along, nobody listens to me, right? I don't be saying these things out of malice or because I want to be right. I know exactly what's happening, man. Right? And Stevens' comments again, you know, again, he's giving us a bit of insight of what's going on. Interesting. But that's what I said to you. And it proves one thing, right? Or says one thing to me, I should say. If anybody is going to retcon the timeless child, it's going to be Chris Chibnall. Because with Strevens making those comments, that means that's it. Doctor Who from 2005 to 2022 is officially it. Done. That's that done. Complete Doctor Who. When RTD comes back, he's given us a new Doctor Who, new vision, new direction for the next generation. Remember, Wenger said that as well. They're already giving us clues. They've been giving us clues for months. This is finished after 13. And yes, while the next Doctor will be the 14th Doctor, he will be basically, if you look at it logically, he'll be the first Doctor of this new Doctor Who, if you get what I'm saying. So, as I've said from the beginning and from day one, there's only one person that can retcon this rubbish, and that'll be down to Chris Chibnall, because RTD is not going to touch this. He's not going to, as I said, he wouldn't anyway. It's not his job to do it. So it's done. It's done. So, okay, in the live chat, if there's anybody who would like to come on now, I'm leaving in the next half hour. I'm not going over half an hour. So, we've got a half an hour. If there's anybody who would like to come on and comment on them, and remember, as I said, you know, I've made an effort not to use any bad language or get because YouTube is just limiting me streams now just for the fun of it. So I've been trying my best. So if we can keep the bad language off the live stream, that'll be absolutely fantastic. I know some of us slip up the odd time, but we have to leave it out. It's not because, again, as I said, Bad Wolf Productions of Doctor Who is a completely different animal to BBC's production of Doctor Who. This is a completely different entity altogether. It's like, how do I put it? It's like a reboot of a reboot. That's exactly what it's like. So it's not his job, and it's not his responsibility to fix another showrunner's mess. Seriously, it's not. So if anybody would like to come on anyway, you're more than welcome to give your thoughts on the articles. As I said, we got about a half an hour, but if I want a couple of people to come on now, so if there's a couple of people that like to come on, Charlie, you're more than welcome to come on. Daniel, you're more than welcome to come on. Lee, even you're more than welcome to come on. Jesus Christ, just keep your. See, now you have me saying the Lord's name in vain. What? Yeah. Anyway, if you want to come on, you're more than welcome. More than welcome. More than welcome. But look. Again, anyway, I'm not getting into this debate again, whether Chris or whether RTD should do this, that, and the other. I'm telling you exactly what's being said in articles and what the quotes are. And if you go by the quotes, then this is Doctor Who from 2005 to 2022. And then after that, in 2023, we get a brand new Doctor Who. This is like a reboot of a reboot. Basically, he won't go out of his way to retcon this, but he won't acknowledge it. And it won't be even brought up. So, if that's not good enough, and he's looking for some sort of line to retcon it, again, not going to happen. I mean, as I said, we'll see. If he says that the Doctor was born on Gallifrey and stuff like that and came from Gallifrey and was born on Gallifrey, well then there you go. You have your retcon as such. But this is being bookended, so it doesn't matter. It's in its own little bubble. But again, as I said, we can keep having... yeah, it would have to be a quick... Yeah, you can come on, yeah. We'll stay in the chat next time. Well, your co-host is coming on, so if you want to come on with your co-host and You can come on with your co-host, but I'm sending your co-host an email now, so you can let me know. You can let me know. Be good. It'd be good to have the duo on. Be good to have the duo on. Duo. Right, so co-host has been sent an email. Let me see. Did anybody else say that they wanted to come on? Yeah, even I said, Lee, even if you want to come on. Yeah. Just remember, you won't be on your own, right? I'll send you an email if you want to come on. You can come on. If you don't, then that's fine. But just bite your tongue or say a colourful word if you think you're going to drop an owl bomb. Right, let's bring Charlotte on because, as I said, we'll be leaving soon. So we've actually gone down to 20 minutes now. So I'm just going to bring her on very quickly because I know she'll be leaving actually at the same time as I will be tonight.
It makes a change.
But Charlie, yeah, obviously, I've seen what I've been speaking about tonight. So is there anything in particular that you would like to add?
Well, on the Stevens front, I'm really not surprised because I think people forgot, and I'm sure it was him. Do you know when all the backlash and all the anger about the socially awkward line happened?
Yeah,
I'm sure it was him that came out and defended it like then.
he did.
And
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of how he worded it, but basically, from my memory, he basically said, "Well, we know what we're doing, and we think it's brilliant. You're all just not getting it."
I'll try get up that comment now while you're
He said something like just as deluded, just as full of himself, and it just came across as so arrogant. So when I was like you, I saw like the multiple articles that people were making. I was just like, no, this guy's that full of himself. If he can't understand the whole cancer issue on the socially awkward issue with that whole scene, which he blatantly didn't in his comments then. And I've been thinking about this. I still think Chibnall is the main ideas and all the main creative issues have come from him. But what if Stevens has actually had more influence than we thought? And what if the reason he's coming out is because some of these ideas we've attributed to Chibnall have actually come from him? I have been thinking about this.
Right, I think I have it here. Hold on. Just want to see if there's actually a quote from him himself.
I'm sure it was him. It was one of the producers, and I was just like, you really don't get why people are upset about this.
Right, it's not that article. Right, but I'm on the scent. So I will I'll look for that I will get that article, folks. Just bear with me. And there is direct quotes because there was a backlash. Let's bring in Problem Being as well. But Charlotte, go on, continue what you were saying there anyway.
Yeah, no, so I've been thinking, what if some of the more overt political things we've not liked have come from Stevens?
Well, I'll tell you why you might be onto something there, because I used to watch a show back in the day called Misfits, and the first few seasons are great, right? And then Matt Stevens is brought on board, And then you can clearly see when he's brought on board that from season 3 onwards, the show starts to decline, right? There's a lot of political stuff then brought into it and all of this. And yeah, very interesting that when he arrived on the scene, that show started to decline. I wouldn't be surprised, actually. But, you know, at the end of the day, whether it is him, you know, having more influence, at the end of the day, it's still Chibnall who is the showrunner.
Oh
He's
yeah, it's
supposed to
still
be the boss.
his name, yeah, and
Look, they're
yeah.
all clones of each other, aren't they? Anyway, I mean, they wouldn't dare hire anyone who shared different worldviews at the moment. They're literally clones of it. Well, I wouldn't say literally, but they are like clones of each other.
Yeah, and just very quickly, people are saying in the chat, Piers said the show, the comment from Piers Wenger was the editorially healthy comment.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about comments about precisely this socially awkward line. And it was like, oh, we were doing this really clever thing and
smelling their own farts.
Well, now it's coming a bit more to me. The comment was something like, well, you think you would have wanted her to say something, but you really didn't. Something that, like I said, nonsensical, delusional. It's like, no, we wanted our heroic character.
What they were saying,
to show some compassion.
When the BBC responded to that, the general theme of the argument was that it was to side with socially awkward people, to give them a voice, and you know, it was like basically saying that, you know, these people got representation, you know, the socially awkward, because then they could identify with someone who's
that's what they were trying to do.
Yeah, fine, you can do that in any other context, but when you're preferencing the fee-fees of socially awkward people over someone with a physical illness like cancer, and then dismissing the fears of that person, because, I mean, how do you think someone with cancer or people who know someone with cancer are going to react to something like that? It's unconscionable.
And that's really the thing. And it just, like, there's so many times when we've all said, watching the current era, like, what are you thinking? And then we know what we think, because we've got Stevens coming out with, we sort of used the term fickle, like he used. And I'm just like, so that's projection. Like, yeah, it's like, well, no, if you want fickle, how about, and I'm not talking about the established fans that like the Jodie era, because I know they exist. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the overt activists that came on with this show with Jodie and Chibnall. They're the fickle ones. Mm-hmm. Because as soon as Jodie's gone and we've seen it, they have turned. They have... Suddenly, Chibnall, who was their bestest friend, who did all these wonderful things for them, suddenly he's the villain. So, Stevens, that's fickle.
Yeah.
Because, but then look, but these same people that before, during the Hall of Flux, were tearing into Chibnall, you gave us really bad representation with Thasmin, so now we like you again. That's fickle. Yeah. Our criticisms are not fickle.
With the Chibnall audience, everything is so dependent on their mass demand.
Yes.
Right? If they don't get their way, they stamp their feet until they do get their way. And then Chibnall and co. dutifully supply that demand, ignoring everyone else, by the way, because it's all part and parcel of people sharing the message. And it's so clearly obvious who the fickle ones are here and how well's that worked out. You know, we've been consistent all the way through this, right? We've not kowtowed and towed the line. We've held the line. We stuck with what we've been saying all along. We haven't changed anything. We've stuck with the objective facts. We've stuck with our arguments that we've had from the very beginning, and it's been the same throughout, right? We know where we've come from. We know what the show is and what it is not, what it should represent, what it shouldn't. And we know that the show has always been political. It's always been very liberal. It's always been very inclusive. And we know the difference between what inclusive and liberal and all these other things mean, and not what we're being dictated to that it is on Twitter, which is a completely different animal, right?
Right.
These people will change with the weather, dependent on what demands they've got day after day after day.
Right. I found this article, again by Radio Times, and from my favourite journalist for the Radio Times, Mr. Hugh Shill de Fullerton,
You full of crap.
himself. So BBC responds to Doctor Who fans upset by awkward Doctor and Graham conversation. So fans weren't happy, blah 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 blah. We've read all that before, right? And then this if I'm correct in saying this article tries to defend that.
Yeah, because this is the blanket statement they gave out.
So this is it, yeah. So even contacted. So this is the blanket statement. So they said, "Thank you for contacting us about Doctor Who. Can you hear me? With your feedback that it was insensitive for the Doctor to dismiss Graham's cancer concerns. The BBC complaints response, which RadioTimes.com has independently verified."
They said dismiss, so they acknowledged that she was dismissing his cancer concerns.
Right,
dismissing.
but this is
very important.
This is what they said. "We never set out to upset our viewers with what we show, and this episode tackled some sensitive themes. The episode used dreams and nightmares to explore the inner lives of companions. Thanks to Zellen's nightmare powers, Ryan, Yaz, and Graham were forced to confront their worst fears, many of which relate to the way traveling with the Doctor has changed their lives. When Graham opened up to the Doctor about his fear of his cancer returning, her response was never meant to be dismissive. The Doctor's friend was sacred, and we see her struggling to deal with the severity of the situation." Okay, hold on. I just want to make a comment, right? The Doctor's in a fucking time machine. The Doctor can literally go anywhere in the future. You mean tell me somewhere in the future they haven't cured fucking cancer? Shut the
Exactly.
fuck up.
And then saying that it was never meant to be dismissive. Or how else was it meant to be? Because she dismissed
because
it.
your line was literally.
That's a lie.
It's not like she sort of looked at him and was like, "I don't know what to do." She literally was like, "I'm just gonna go over here to the console and
it was
think
played
of witty."
for laughs.
So here it is anyway.
For laughs.
The rest of their statement says, "The intention of the scene was to acknowledge how hard it can be to deal with conversations on this subject matter.
Exactly.
When faced with these situations, people don't always have the right words to say at the right time, and this can often lead to feelings of guilt. But showing
so the Doctor should be there to show you what you do say, for crying out loud. That's the whole point.
Exactly.
For the Doctor, to give you a role model, a hero, to tell you how to deal with things at specific times. And by representing a cowardly, "I don't know what to say," is not heroic.
By the way, the message
is not a role model.
We hope this helped to address your concerns, but please be assured your feedback has been raised with the show's program's executive producer. Now, now I just want to say something. Right? The fact that they didn't apologize, right? This isn't an apology, but this was framed as an apology. This isn't an apology at all. Where have they said that they're sorry they upset viewers? They said it wasn't their intention, but they never said that they were sorry for upsetting viewers, which they did.
They never do wrong. They can never be wrong.
So, again, I can't actually find, believe it or not, if it's come from Matt Strevens, but it does say program's executive producer, and Matt Strevens is one of the executive producers, but I can't actually see if that quote is directed at him. Hold on, here's another article here. I won't, if his name gets mentioned in it and it's a direct quote, I'll obviously put it up.
That one though, I remember that was framed as the BBC when that got put out, that statement. I'm sure it was an interview, and he was in the interview, or they got comments from him. And I remember and the reason I remembered this is because I remember thinking at the time, God, you sound so full of yourself.
Mhm.
And it just made, when I said these fickle comments, and she'll be adored, and all the absolute
Projection.
tripe.
Yeah,
that was coming
everyone who
out.
disagrees with this era, you know, all those, what is it he said? I can't remember. He said about the number of complaints. It was just like a few people complaining, you know. Really?
Yeah, and
yeah,
also
so I mean,
he was like saying, "Oh, the headlines were disingenuous that were talking about the ratings."
yeah, we'll be fickle, and then we'll get over it, and then we'll love her all of a sudden. We're just going to overnight go, oh, do you know what? I really miss Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall's Doctor Who because we're so fickle. Oh, what were we talking about? We didn't really dislike this era at all with a passion.
Yeah, and that's what Stevens was trying to put out. He was trying to put out that all this uproar, all this noise, all the stuff we've been saying for the last 5 years by
fickle.
this year, it was nothing. It was just a few people
patronising-
moaning.
How patronising can this guy be? I mean, these people are such elitist scumbags that they just think that they just know better than the rest of us, you know, proles who just bottom feeding at the bottom of their trough.
Here's the thing, Stevens. If we were so insignificant, because that's what you're trying to say without saying that word.
Just a small number of
trying to project, right?
Half the bloody audience has gone.
Yeah, this is all projection, as PD was saying in the chat. If we're so insignificant, how come Russell has got his job back?
Mm-hmm. Oh, because he was bored that week. He was like, "Oh, you know, I can't think we should just do another Doctor Who."
You just thought on the fly, I'll just get the show back, and I won't eat. And it's not that
because it's doing so well. I can come back and just have another go.
And the BBC is doing such a good job. Such a good job, Matt, that I'm going to get my own production company to make the show.
And be half bought out by Sony. Yeah. And just an aside, take away all control of Doctor Who from the BBC.
And I'm going to get a big chunk of creative control.
Yeah, and tons of cash. Yeah.
Yeah, Stevens. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You should have kept your trap shut, mate.
Yeah, right. I mean,
it's just in a really fluffy, like, oh, I love my time, and that's just, sort of interview.
These people are gaslighting the hell out of us, and they are smug about it. And I just think you're just so irritating at this point because you're just rubbing our faces in it. We know that you've gone screwed up. You know that you screwed, but you're gaslighting us and making it out that it's our fault for your failures. I would have respected this man so much more.
Listen,
I would have respected this man so much more if he said, "You know what? Yes, we did fail, but we did our best."
I told you it was going to happen. I told you that the narrative was going to change and they were going to blame us for the failure.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to blame us for the failure because we couldn't get behind a female doctor or get behind shit storylines and character development. That's not our fault, right?
Story we have taste.
Right? Yeah, exactly. But that's the truth of the matter. At the end of the day, this wasn't the level of Doctor Who that it should be. Right? It's not at the level. So if it's not at the level, how do you expect fans and the British public to get behind something that they think is utterly shite? Right? Now, I haven't been able to find if Stevens actually made that direct quote. I have checked a few articles. There's no other articles there. They just say, send your complaints to the executive producer, Stevens. So if complaints were going through him, I'm pretty sure that probably is. I don't know if he's on Twitter or something, but I'm pretty sure Charlotte is right. I've seen something directly from him myself, whether it's been taken down or not, because I've also noticed a few article headlines that had original headlines. They've changed them, believe it or not. So, yeah, a lot of that is going on. But look, that's saying it just goes to show you. You know, I showed you that article earlier.
Sociopaths.
Chris Chibnall told you.
Do not understand how absolutely disgusting that scene was.
Yeah, I know.
You must be some sort of sociopath. I'm sorry, but you lack any sense of empathy.
Yeah, or compassion.
Yeah, but
and to not see that,
but it's like, even if, right, unless this is me being very, 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 very kind, right? Okay, so you wanted to show that you can't always speak, you can't always verbally sort of respond to something if it's really hard or traumatic.
Yeah.
Right? Even let's just try and for a second, that's what they're trying to do. Okay, so she couldn't say something and that's what you're trying to show. Just have her hug him.
Yeah.
Or
even that.
Or hold his hand.
Even
or
that.
Do something.
Exactly. Even that would have sufficed. Even a hug to acknowledge the fact that she understood where he was coming from.
They made their doctor look like a complete sociopath.
Cold.
Because I think that represents more about who they are rather than anyone else.
Doctor's not a cold person. Listen, you go far back as the macro terror with Trout, and I remember a specific scene where he's going down.
was socially awkward at the start. Remember that his doctor.
He didn't like hugs.
How you do socially awkward.
Yeah, he didn't like hugs or anything because he said he doesn't trust the hug because you can't see people's faces.
Which is a great line.
Yeah. That's how it's done. But again, look, I've showed you already. These guys don't give two hoots, right? They had their own vision, right? And I don't even believe by the end it was their vision. They were forced into this or forced into doing something, but he still wanted to include his rubbish, right? But we got Doctor Who Flux, and Doctor Who Flux is yeah. You go back and look at it actually, which I have.
Yeah.
Not as yeah. There was still not gonna lie, there's still some good scenes in it and things that I like about it, but there's
it amounted to nothing.
But yeah, exactly. That's the problem. There was no end game, and we kind of knew we had two fears. He would either drop all of this the last episode, and the last episode of the series, and that'd be done, and then we get the specials. Then there was another fear that he'd actually drag it on to the specials, and it looks like he's dragging it on now. But like nobody does people really give a crap what the resolution is now at this stage? Because I honestly don't. I used to want, but I don't. I'll watch, but I don't care anymore. Let Yaz and the Doctor do what they're going to do if that's what they're going to do.
Yeah,
as far as I'm concerned,
has basically told us now, which we all also said, it's not going to end happy.
Yeah,
he's basically told everybody now.
Well, that's what he does, man. He's baiting this is what he does. This is why we've been calling him out. We're not calling him out because we're not calling him out for
the ending you want, folks.
Exactly,
it really isn't.
We're not calling him out for the sake of calling him out. We're calling him out because we can see through exactly what he's doing, and we don't like it because it's disrespectful. It's not done with any sort of fucking grace or any sensitivity whatsoever. It's all shoehorned in, and then it's like, there you go, you got what you wanted. Congratulations, happy days.
I have to say, let's pander to the shippers, which is renowned for being like the most toxic element of all fandoms. I mean, you want to talk about fickle? I mean, pandering is fickle. Let's be honest.
Yeah, well, look, Strevens has done us all a favour this week, so thank you.
Well, he's just exposed himself.
You've just exposed the lies that have been going on in this fandom, the spin for the last few years.
Let's just demoralise them a little bit more. Let's just say, oh yeah, it's just a few small number of people complaining.
It hasn't demoralised. Demoralised us.
No, we've been demoralised for 5 years, so we're immune.
But lately, he's had to come out and say this rubbish.
Yeah, because he did because nothing was being talked about because people were coming out and talking about the ratings, and they needed someone to come out to be the voice to say no, they're still lying.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So Strevens was unfortunately the guy that was probably chosen. Do you know what they probably did? Chibnall, him, and whoever else talks to the media probably drew straws, and Strevens got the small end of the stick. Let's just say,
coward.
And he had to come out. I know. In all reality, it should be the showrunner coming out dismissing these
He has
claims.
run away from this fandom every step of the way.
Exactly.
When does he make public appearances? Like
Never.
apart from the COVID, never engaged. Never engaged.
Never. And that's what he'll be remembered for. The man who wasn't
He couldn't
willing
be
to
bothered
engage.
to write for Doctor Who magazine.
Do you know what?
Really.
Do you know what? I would have had a lot more respect for him if he had come out fighting in interviews and stuff like that and said we were wrong and tried to make us understand his vision, right? That's what a showrunner does, right? Even if they're getting it wrong, come out and defend yourself. The fact that he let other people do it for him just goes to show you how cowardly he actually is. But look, that's what he'll be remembered for. And he will be remembered as the worst showrunner
fondly.
of Doctor Who.
Yeah, he'll be remembered fondly as that bloody coward rubbish showrunner who destroyed the show. Fondly, of course.
And of course, his doctor will also be remembered with fondness with us all. And the fondness of having to come on and do all those videos. I just want to thank Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall for actually making me more better off than I was now. 5 years, than I was 5 years ago. I mean, all those videos really did help. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm only
we would be fickle if we suddenly just turned around and said, you know what, I miss Jodie Whittaker.
But you know
what? That would be fickle.
One thing I will say, and everybody that stuck with it and didn't bow down to the fake narrative that was going out there and took all the abuse and still continued to tell the fandom the truth. Today, you guys deserve to pat yourselves on the back, you guys and ladies out there, because you stuck with it. You weren't buying the lies and you were telling the fandom the truth. And that's all we've ever done. Remember one thing, as I've said from day one, people have accused me and other streamers out there of having an agenda. Now, that might be true with some streamers out there, but it certainly isn't true with me and others that I personally know, right? Our only agenda was to let the fans see how bad this was so they could call on Chris Chibnall, Matt Strevens and others to do better by this show. That's the only agenda we have ever had. I just wanted Doctor Who to be the best that it could be. And under this current showrunner and current doctor, it wasn't. And I'm sorry if that has upset and hurt some people out there. At the end of the day, that's the reality of the situation. And 2 million live views for Eve of the Daleks, which I believe is inflated anyway, but 2 million live views for Eve of the Daleks is not a success. It is absolutely pathetic. And we said it 5 years ago, 4 years ago even, right? That if it was to go under 3 million, 3 or 2 million, this was game over. It's officially reached that target now, 2 million. And by the way, Eve of the Daleks was so bad, folks, that I don't even expect the next episode to do 2 million. I expect it to do worse, right? And then his last episode, I reckon, will get a bump because it is the very last one of his era. But the next episode's going to suffer as well, unless they put out a spoiler out there that something big is going to happen in this episode. That'll be the only reason why it will get a jump because, you know, as streamers fans are fickle and the fickle fans will jump in and the ones that think that this is absolutely amazing, which is not many of them. It's only probably about 750,000 of them because I don't believe that 2 million figure because a lot would have actually left. That's what I'm saying. Those live figures are even inflated. Right.
Do you think you're going to win people over with this kind of rhetoric?
No,
to just dismiss all of these people who've been saying for years that this is terrible, this is bad. Do you think
it's not about winning anybody over?
But do you think it's a good idea? Do you think this is going to win people back to Doctor Who? By telling them that they're fickle, that they're stupid, that their opinions don't matter.
Listen, I don't think Matt Stevens gives a shit now, though, because
he really doesn't, mate. He's got a new job with that stuff to do with Doctor Who after this. He does not care.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah, but this is systematic of the problem with the BBC. This is why the BBC is failing because this is symptomatic of their sanctimonious point of view, looking down their noses, these elitist scumbags looking down their noses at people like us who pay their fucking wages, right? Not in my case anymore. Thank you very much. I've had enough. But the point is that you've driven these people away, and then you're blaming them for basically not tuning in, and then sort of not even complaining about it, but just dismissing that it's not happening. It's still a success. It's still great. It's still wonderful. And people are fickle, and people are stupid, and people are... No, own it. Own it, accept it, and admit it. But you never will, because you're cowards, you're liars, you're gaslighting us, you're gaslighting yourselves. And we've had enough. And that's why the BBC is in so much trouble. That's why it's now gone back to RTD. And we all know it. We all know it. So there's no point trying to gaslight us, because we know you're lying and you're full of shit.
That's it. The illusion has now been broken. But look, we could sit here all night and continue to talk this topic of conversation. And I'm sure it'll be brought up again, because I'm pretty sure there'll be more quotes and stuff to come out, because they just can't help themselves. But it does actually show that what the showrunner and executive producers think is completely different to the British public and what Doctor Who fans actually think. And if Strevens actually does think that 2 million in live views, and it doesn't matter what the consolidated are, the live views are pathetic for each episode. If he thinks that's good enough, when shows like Line of Duty that are brilliantly written can get 8 to 10 million live viewers, right? And then consolidated do 12 to 16 million, right? And consolidated, there is no excuse. That is pathetic, right? And I remember a streamer out there which laughably...
It's not an institution like Doctor Who is an institution.
Who actually...
It's an institution.
But here's the thing. We had a Doctor Who YouTuber out there that's been spinning the ratings for years. I won't say who it is, right? You all know who it is, right? We're not mentioning his name on this channel, right? But he recently did a video and he compared this version of Doctor Who to the streaming shows that were on Disney Plus and other streaming services. And he was saying that those shows were doing 2 million and Doctor Who was doing 4 million, so Doctor Who was better. Well, the live views showed that it was actually doing worse than the Disney Plus shows. So spin your way out of that one. As I said, nobody gives a shit about the consolidated figures and the 28-day figures. The figures that matter in a ratings war, live TV, is the live figures. That's why Saturday night was a prime time thing. That's why Doctor Who did so well, because it was well written. And it would always be in the top 3 or the top 1. Doctor Who being in the top 10 or the top 20 or the top 25 is pathetic on a Sunday night where it's got Coronation Street.
But it's in the top 30 now, so that's still great.
30. Oh, no, it's not. It's pathetic. Doctor Who should be in the top 5 at least nowadays. And it hasn't. So don't be giving me this. And the AI as well is actually starting. But, again, it's funny how desperate these fans are now when they know the illusion and the lies have been now, seen for what they are, right? Now they're showing, but this classic Doctor Who episode, by the way, they didn't have catch-up back then.
And don't forget as well that, after all that careful building up to sell Doctor Who to America and places like that, and then you get success in America, and then you produce stuff which criticizes and attacks American culture and American people, and then you lose the American audience for what? So you can say, well, we told them.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant.
We're
Genius.
stunning.
Well done.
We're stunning and brave. Look at how stunning and brave we are. And by the way, audience,
exporting
you're
their
a bunch
own
of
crappy
dirty
politics
You're
back
a bunch
to
of
them.
dirty individuals because, you destroy the earth and climate change and all of that. And I'm the Doctor and I'm going to talk into the camera real condescending to you and tell you that you're a piece of shit because you pollute the earth. Yeah, sick of it all. But anyway, at least with RTD, it'll be done differently. And he will actually make us think when he does bring up some of these things, because he will address them, but he'll do it in the right way while giving us a great story as well. And look, he's gonna make a show of Chris Chibnall's ratings anyway. So, and then as I said, the spin, it's already started. Strevens has already set the mood now. He said that we're fickle, right? So the next move will be all these fans will blame us for the failure of Doctor Who under Whittaker and Chibnall. So look out for that, because it's about to come. Shit is going to hit the fan, because these fans can't take this line down. They're in denial, and and it is actually funny and laughable. But you know what? I'm not laughing anymore. They destroyed the legacy of a show that I loved, and it's in tatters thanks to these people. Ought to be ashamed of yourselves, every single one of you. Right, we're going to leave it there. We'll be back again soon. That was epic, Noel, says Daniel. Thank you. I thought my impression of the Tasman stands was better, actually. I did love doing that. I think that was Oscar quality. I should really get an award for that. You know, I don't deserve it. I've never done acting before, but you know, in today's society, you know, I don't have to earn it. So I want me fucking Oscar. So where's me Oscar? Give it to me. If you don't give it to me, you're racist because I'm Irish. Have you got something against the Irish? Where's me Oscar? Come on.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Right, I'm out of here anyway. So we'll let the boys and girls on the panel give the channel shout out. So we'll start with you for Charlotte, because I know you have the head.
Yep, I do. So me and Daniel this Friday, and catch me with the lovely Dan Hadley on the Facebook. Good night, folks. I do need to go now.
See you later. And Lee.
Yep, you can catch me at TwitTwats at Being Problem, and my alternative channel is Aldred Audio Visual, where I've got my commission work on there. If you're looking for someone to do your titles or music videos or whatever you want, let me know.
Fantastic. Right, we're going to leave it there, folks. I'm going to go off now and make me dinner. Probably watch a bit of The Masked Singer with the wife, because we got an episode to watch. So I'm going to do that. I've no Oscar, but I gave you a like. Thanks very much. Thanks very much for that. The likes are better than an Oscar anyway, because, you know, they're not fake.
Because it's from real people doing it.
It's from real people. That's it. But I do want me Oscar, because that was a great performance. I'm only messing. Right, we're off. We'll see you soon. Have a good one. What you call it? I'm off to do a bit of bleeding shopping tomorrow. Oh, I hate fucking shopping, but it has to be done. Yeah, to go buy new clothes and stuff like that. So, yeah. Well, she actually bought me clothes, but she got me the wrong size. She's trying to tell me that they're not the wrong sizes, but you know yourself, you know how clothes fit on yourself, like, you know. So yeah, there's a bit of a debate there. She's saying that no, they are my sizes, but it's funny because we keep joking about it, because like she thinks I'm bigger than I am. And then she thinks I'm deluded because I do look that big. Maybe I am, but we'll see when I go and change the jeans anyway. Anyway, I'm off, folks. Have a good one. Thanks to me too, guest Lee and Queen Charlotte. And I hope you have enjoyed it. Remember, all those links to all those articles are in the link description. And I also put Pitbull Gaming's video, which you should go and watch. Good. Like, share, and subscribe to his channel as well. It's a great video, folks. So I left it in the link description. Check it out. That's it for me for tonight. Say good night, Lee.
Good night, Lee.
And good night, everybody in the chat. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Bye.